Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be creating a synonym creator. Essentially, we want to make sure that every view that we've created and every function or procedure that we've created exists in the InterfaceMain database, so we have access to it through synonyms. Now, synonyms are extremely important because it allows us to move a database to another server and not change any code, not have to figure out what's going on. Just let the linked server do its thing, let our code generator regenerate these synonyms, and our application is fine with it. So this allows us to load balance use. I mean, we probably don't want the history and archive databases on our main operating drive, and eventually we can move analysis and reporting databases to a local development area. So I hope you enjoy, and I will see you soon. All right, so there were a couple of things I had to change. I had to add some code to the base create procedure and the definition create single, and I had to make sure that it was actually inserting the record into the dataset table. Make sure it had a specific dataset number, the key names were good, and I used the function that from last time to actually call the base. And the definition is basically the same, except for instead of base, I used definition name because it was an incoming parameter. So yeah, this one is for the view base create, and this one's for definition create single. And the last one I did was the RCFT to make sure that my function was in the process table, and I classified it using the classify procedure that we had because we can actually overload it. If it doesn't have a process name or database key name type key name, it's not going to insert that record into the process table, but it'll still take care of the rest. So I just declared function system common get RCFT, executed this procedure, and it created the realm class family type for me. So this is the code I added to the function RCFT create. And then I just ran a cursor that would ensure that I recreated all of my functions, so I knew that all of them were in the process table. I misspelled that. I will replace that real quick. And then I cursored through those subjects. It created all of the RCFT functions again. And then I used those functions to limit the data sets that I cursored through because I don't want any views. I don't want VV TBL_select because that would happen. We don't have enough things in place to prevent that. So for the actual synonym code though, the create synonym is a very simple code. It's just create synonym, the schema dot. In our case, we're going to prefix everything with an S, followed by the object name for the database in which it exists, dot the schema, DBO in our case, dot the object name again. I'm going to add drop synonym if exists and just copy this and paste it. So if the synonym does exist, it will drop it for us. So now just declaring the things that we need. We're going to need the object name because we're going to cursor through all of our functions, our procedures, and our views at the same time, since the dataset table and the process table have database IDs in them. We can use a union to get the name and the database ID just so everything is a lot quicker. So I do need my SQL scripts since this is a dynamic SQL video, and I need my database name for the InterfaceMain database. What we're going to do is, this is kind of how we're going to start accessing data, is we know it's called InterfaceMain. We know what the database ID could be, but if we train ourselves to consistently use the code in this way, give me the key name interface, where it's in, I call the database type ID or database type table and get the main type. I can give this code to somebody else and it won't matter what IDs that they that they're using in their system. And that's where this power, the master data management system that I'm designing here, that's where it gets all its power from, is that you could share code, and as long as the key names are the same, then the code is easily, it's ready to go. Or you have these red text areas that you can just replace with your key names. It's just extremely powerful. Refactoring code from other areas is usually a very long process. So I just declared a database ID and database name for the union statement I was talking about. I added use InterfaceMain to my script. So because for now we're only going to create synonyms in InterfaceMain, we could just add it instead of replace the token. That's perfectly fine too. If we can't find InterfaceMain, it'll just null out the entire string. But for now, we're going to create synonyms only in InterfaceMain, and when we get our history and archive tables set up, we'll create another synonym procedure to create the archive, snapshot, and history tables in its respective main database. So interface will have synonyms of history, and even system will have synonyms of system history, system archive, because the change management procedures will live on the main database. So using the the snippet, cursor snippet, and the get base ID snippet, I'm just calling the dataset family, the dataset subject, all the way down to the realm, and I do have to format all of these because we're using views now. But I don't care about any of the key names from type, class, or family. I only care that they are views, even if they are functional views, which I'll talk about later, or report-based views. So I'm just doing a lot of formatting. I should create another snippet that holds select-based items now. I do apologize about this. Let's see. And see, all we really need is the view realm of datasets. And actually, I have to create another variable to hold the database ID for InterfaceMain, because when we're pulling these views and procedures, we don't want to create a synonym for something that already exists in the interface database. We don't want a synonym when we have the object there. And there are times that we're going to create views that encompass, that talk to many databases in our interface database for speed. So then I could just union all the same thing, just paste the database or the dataset code and replace dataset with process. And instead of equals view in the process realm key name, we could do in procedure and function. Just hope you would use procedure and function in your realm like I did. And that will just feed us the database ID and the object name that we need to create the synonym for. So our cursor will be the database ID and the object name, which will be dataset name or the process name. So since we already have the database ID, we just need to get the database name from the database table. Come on, there we go. And then we can replace our token with this database name. Make sure we null it out because it's in the cursor. And then we will, I forgot to filter it. Oh, I just pasted. Oh, I see what I did. When those snippets mess up, they really throw me off because I have this train of thought, totally get derailed. But now we can replace our base script with our database name tokens and object name. I'm just going to copy the for statement so I'm not messing up any tokens because it feels like I already made a couple errors here. So replacing the database name token with database name, and then the object name token with the object name. And then we could just execute that execute SQL and finish out our fetch next. I'll just copy paste. And I think we can test it, and it failed. So normally to debug things, I just comment out the exec and look for and use it as a print or put a print before it. And we could see I did drop synonym if exists, but I added the for statement at the end of that, which copy paste errors, you know, things happen. I should definitely pay more attention. I apologize. So after that, now we should actually have a working piece of code, and we do. Okay, so we have all of our functions that we have so far and all of the views in InterfaceMain. So there is a lot of tech debt that I'm going to need to resolve, and I think I'm going to be doing that in the next video. We have so many procedures that we have to convert into synonyms and get out of using the DB system main, or else we're gonna have to do it way later. So just creating a procedure for the code I had, system object synonym create underscore interface main, and that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, like this video and YouTube will recommend it to other users in our industry, and subscribe to support me. I will see you next time.